Now, this session is all about focus and confidence, okay? Confidence in making that decision. Is it a good decision? Is it a bad decision? Am I going to make money? Am I going to lose money? Am I just not going to make anything with all the effort? And focus. Let's start with focus. Let's start with focus, okay? And this is, I'm not going to name, but someone here knows that we had this discussion just a few days ago, just a couple of days ago. But if you have a diluted focus, and I'm going to actually pick up a couple of names here. Raise your hand if you think Harry is doing really well for his age. Yeah? Raise your hand if you think he's doing really well for his age. He's 19 years old, okay? Why is he doing well? Focus, guys. Focus. He's just focused on one thing at a time at the moment, okay? Yes, he's doing his networking as well. But remember, he's not doing that as much as now he's focused on one strategy. When you dilute your focus, okay, you will not get results. You will not get results. It's very, very simple. Do one thing and one thing at a time. You know, I think if you were to read all the religions and all the spirituality, they will tell you one thing at the core: be present in this moment. You know, you go for a walk. Can you feel the nature? You are working. Are you thinking of 3 different things? How do you expect you to take a good decision? One thing and one thing only. You think of one thing, you do one thing, and you focus on one thing, okay? Especially in initial parts of your journey, okay? When you are a bit more experienced, you can focus on 2 things, okay? It's not a problem. But when you're starting out in something, please do not look at 2 things at a time. All you're doing is you're diluting your effort and your pretty much everything. And it leads to frustration, okay? Remove the shiny penny syndrome, and I'll share a bit more on that, okay? It's all about looking at one thing and doing one thing at a time till you become profitable, okay? Look at Muzzy, okay? Believe me, guys, none of us is a rocket scientist, okay? Look at Seti. The reason he's successful in his journey is because simply he started with lettings and he focused on lettings. Now he can focus on other things because that is built, okay? Muzzy, he's focused on rent to rent. That is getting built. It's getting to a really good level. Focus. Now, on a side note, Muzzy is buying his own portfolio, okay? Very, very simple. A focus on one thing at a time, at least to start with, okay? Laser sharp focus. If you dilute your effort and get frustrated or overwhelmed, you're the only one to blame, okay? But correlated to that, okay, might be that focus. A lot of people lose focus because they don't know if they're doing the right thing, okay? So it's correlated to confidence, okay? I can assure you one thing, okay? That property, and I can assure you in the sense that I can actually give you examples of people, okay, who are connected with just PEN, who built multi-million pound portfolios just by doing what I shared in the first session, okay? They take on one property, they do that property, they move on to the second one, they build that one, and 10 years later, these guys are sitting on 20 properties, okay? Seti?
Yeah, bro.
This is very predominant in Indian and North Indian, for that matter, Punjabi culture, right?
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of people know this, right? A lot of Punjabi people in this country, Indian Sikh people, that's all they do. They buy one property, renovate, move on to the second one, renovate that, and keep building on top of each other. Most of the Punjabi people, you'll be surprised, are millionaires just on this specific strategy of BRRR. They buy, refurb, refinance, and rent it out, and they go on to the second one, okay? And they do this day in, day out as a full-time thing, okay? So you have very, very clear examples of a whole predominantly like a community who's focused on this and is making really, really good money. you are sitting on strategies that actually work. If you're still hesitant, thinking, well, I'm not sure if it's going to work, it's not about the strategy itself, it's your own confidence. I'm going to come back to the confidence. Okay. Now, does this help you with focus? That it does work, that you just need to focus on one thing at a time, and that it does work. So the confusion between is it going to work or not? It does work if you know how to make it work. Okay. Raise your hand if you know what I mean when I ask you this question. Okay. You give one business, same business, to two different people. And 10 years later, those two businesses will be completely different directions and completely different sizes. Raise your hand if you know what I mean by that. It's because of the person who's leading it. Okay. One person is going to actually get bankrupt, and the second one is going to pull it off big time. It's your leadership skills and your hard skills. So that means knowing what kind of property to buy, knowing what kind of investor to work with, knowing what kind of builder to work with, knowing how to make something profitable. So the soft skills, the leadership skills, and the hard skills, which is knowing your technical stuff. If you know both of them well, you can make any business in this world profitable. Okay, the yin and the yang, the strategy and the execution. Okay, you're strategically right. That means you know that the strategy works. Your execution, as in the sense of your communication skills, your leadership skills, and then your hard skills, as in your technical skills. Keep building those skills. That's what it's at the core. Okay, if you don't have those skills, you can learn them. You're learning them as we speak. So very well done. Just being present here, just watching this video, you are learning those skills. Okay. But at the moment, like I said, if you don't focus on one thing at a time, it's diluted effort. And at the same time, going back to confidence, confidence comes from knowing if you are doing the right thing, you already are in the right space, property industry, and you're doing the right kind of strategy, because a lot of people have made the money and are still making the money as we speak. Okay. But then, why do people still freeze in the last moment? Let me share with you something which is a bit more spiritual. Okay. It's all about doing it. Okay. Remember, if you do, let's say, 10 deals in a year or in 10 years, doesn't really matter the time. Okay. But let's say you do 10 deals. You're more likely to at least have one deal or two deals which are going to be either loss making or not make you any money. You could be a rocket scientist, and I can assure you, you'll still not make money on at least one or two deals. It's a numbers game. Okay. You will have a deal that's not going to make you profit, in fact, make you loss. But if you keep doing a few of them, you'll observe and keep learning that you will see more of them profitable than not. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. So please, the aim is to do it, not to worry about, is it going to make you profit or not? What is the spiritual angle? Spiritual angle is that you as a human being, as a human species, are in this world to do your job, to do what you are here for. Okay. And not too much worry about what results it's going to bring. Okay. It's almost like you're serving without expectations. Okay. You serve your family without expectations. Why aren't you serving yourself without expectations? Why are you having so high expectations of yourself? Why are you beating yourself about, is it going to be a good deal? Is it going to be a bad deal? Is it going to make me money? Why are you beating yourself up? Why are you judging yourself? Okay. You just need to do the work. Get the work done. Okay. Without naming the person is here and he knows this. Okay. Literally, like you come across a deal, you do your what I call the calculated risk, due diligence. Is it a calculated risk? It's not a calculated risk. Now your job, if you're a spiritual being, even if you're not, and you believe in yourself, your job is to just do the work, get the work done, sign on the dotted line. Okay. If you struggle with that, Literally get someone behind you and say, push me, get a coach, get an accountability buddy. But it's all about believing in yourself that you are just here to serve without expectations from others as well as from yourself. Higher expectations from yourself lead to frustration, lead to overwhelm, and lead to decision paralysis. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Okay. A lot of people that I speak with, all they do is, oh, I want to make that. In fact, Seti was mentioning yesterday, they want to make the first million very quickly from the first deal. Doesn't quite happen like that. Okay. When you do a few, you will see that £1 million when you've done a few. Okay. Like literally when you've done, in fact, we were talking about yesterday, I was actually socializing with a friend of mine, and he was mentioning that, this guy bought a property, he ended up doing a refurb, and he made like a 1 point something million out of it, literally just in a few months' time. But remember, those guys are experienced. They've been doing it for 10 years. You will get to that point. Not if. You will get to that point if you keep serving yourself. Serving yourself, that means doing the work without very, very high expectations. You will, if you do 10, like I said, you will lose money on one. Remember, Susanna Cole shared, I lost money on some. I broke even on some of the deals. Experienced people make mistakes. But if you do too many of them, you will see the average as higher, as in the sense where you're going to make more money. Okay, move faster. We are moving in we are in a fast moving world. Move fast. If you move slow, you have no one to blame but yourself. Waking up and making 10 calls is not moving fast. Waking up and making 100 calls is moving fast. Okay, but if you make 10 calls and then look at 6 months later and say, well, nothing happened, well, you have no one to blame. Okay, you have to move fast. You have to make more calls. You have to speak with more people. You have to speak with more investors. You have to speak with more builders. You have to speak with more architects. You have to have more collaborations. You have to do more. Okay, we are unfortunately living in a fast world. I said unfortunately because when you move fast, your mind is not calm. Okay, so make sure you get your relaxing time and reflective time behind the scene. Okay, but if you're a spiritual being, you will just serve. And don't forget, serve yourself. When you serve yourself and you don't judge yourself, you will be able to take decisions much faster. You are here, and there's I don't know, raise your hand if you know this, right? Some of the Indians would know this because it's Indian or Sanskrit terminology. It's karma, which means you are here to do your duty, not to judge others or yourself. That's where the confidence comes from, guys. Okay, the confidence is internal. No one can give you confidence. I can't give you confidence. I can't give you confidence. I can't give you focus. I can give you guidance, which you have to apply. Okay, like literally teaching others, like what I'm doing now, gives me confidence. Yeah, because when I'm sharing with you, guess who's the first person who's getting motivated? Not you, me. Okay, when I'm sharing an idea with you, I cannot share the idea with you without dissecting the idea. So don't hesitate to go and create content around it, because you have to dissect the idea for you to share. And that also leads to attracting more people towards you, more investors, more more poverty members, and so on and so forth. Okay, it's all believing in yourself and believing in the process that it works. Property works. How many people do you know who drive Ferraris and very, very big cars and live in mansions? Just because of property. It works. Now it's time for you to become that person who can make it work. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Yeah, you have to become that person who can make it work. The communication skills, the leadership skills, the hard skills, the technical skills, all of those skills are required to be able to pull it off. But you will not be able to do it if you don't focus. And if you don't believe that it works, if you don't believe in yourself, or for that matter, believing in karma, which means doing your duty. You are here to serve others and serve yourself. It's very, very simple. That's where confidence comes from. That's what I do. That's how I apply on myself. In fact, another thing that I do sometimes is humans are the only people or species in the world who are capable of looking at themselves as a third person. And I've shared this previously as well. Look at yourself as a third person and say, what does this person need to do to be more happy, to be more successful? And in most cases, you'll get the answer is, well, do your duty, right? Do your work. And don't judge. Don't judge others and don't judge yourself. It's very, very simple. When you look at a deal and you're paralyzed, is because you're just over analyzing it. You're judging it, right? Okay, just go for it. Go for it. If it gives you 10% return on investment, go for it. If it gives you 50% return on investment, obviously you'll go for it. Okay, so just go for it. Don't hesitate. Okay, you do the first one. Let's say you don't make any money, you break even. Guess what happens to the second one? You'll make it profitable. Okay, what happens to the third one? You'll make it more profitable. You'll be surprised when you get to the fifth and the sixth one, you will see things that most people cannot even see. Okay, from title splitting to short leases to PD rights to, these days there's a major one, which is people with, who own lands freehold and there are flats above it. They've become overnight millionaires. PD rights, they can build 2 more floors. Okay, like literally, the more you do, the more you will understand that it just becomes so much more easier. But if you don't do it, if you are paralyzed, decision paralysis, you will never get to the fifth one and the sixth one. Yes, it is, Kalpana, you're right, it's Bhagavad Gita. Yes, karma word is a Sanskrit word and it comes from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, but it is very, very important to apply that. A lot of people don't. Okay, they just sit there thinking, oh, this is going to make me money or not. This is judging yourself. You're judging your capability. Okay, don't judge that. You're not judging others, you're not judging yourself. It's all about doing it. That is all that matters. Yin, yang, strategy, execution. Strategy means property. That means it works. Execution is your karma. It means going and applying that. Okay, applying is it what it counts. Muzzy doesn't answer my phone these days. Reason being is he's busy execution. I love it when he takes a day to reply to me, because I know by heart, that he is working on his business. Okay, I'm not judging him. I'm just saying I love it because I know that he's busy with his execution. Yin yang, Japanese. Okay, karma, which is execution, right? Your duty. Get the work done. Get the work done. 10 calls a day, speaking to 10 people a day isn't work. That's part-time work. Speaking to 100 people a day is what you call work. Okay, making sure that you create content is work. Making sure that you're doing what needs to be done is called karma. It's called execution. It's the yin and the yang. Are you with me? Raise your hand if you know what I mean.
I still got a lot of love for you, Jack.
Okay, so that's where literally the confidence comes from, and that's where the focus comes from. I am definitely not rocket scientist. Elon Musk has become a rocket scientist without any education. So can you. Okay, it's not very, very difficult. Okay, so yeah, any questions so far?
Focus thing, basically what we discussed. It's a big thing, a big game changer. I don't think people understand it. But you know, the problem is we're all in a bit of a trap, and the trap is, sadly, it's a big thing, which is the mobile devices, which give you social media exposure. You're seeing other people driving this car, flaunting these houses and whatever not. And how do they do it? A lot of them, to be honest with you, I'm not going to swear, but a lot of them are just making it up. They're liars. It's not the reality.
No. And on top of that, a lot of it is, I mean, I can share it on the video. It's dodgy money. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
So don't fall for that. I think I've shared this many times. Don't fall for, and another aspect of spirituality is that you don't compare yourself with anyone. The only person you can compare yourself is what you saw 10 minutes ago in the mirror. Okay. Are you a better more productive, more effective, more efficient, and a better human being than what you were 10 minutes ago. That is all that matters. Have you, and I shared this on the event the other day, are you serving who is the person next to you? Are you serving that person? You know, how many people do you know who sit on cash in their account, losing money by inflation, and by you going and speaking with them and saying, let's work on this property project, you're actually serving them. You are actually serving another human being. And that is very, very spiritual. Okay. You are doing this, you know, for example, we do a BRRR project like this. We bring in architects and they do the work and they get paid. You've served them because you've created profit that actually serves another human being to pay his bills. You brought in a builder, he pays his bills. You brought in a party wall surveyor or a building regs guy. All these people are paying your bills just because you are serving humanity, just because you're serving yourself. Okay, it is everything goes down to spirituality. Okay, if you are very strong spiritually and you're serving the person next to you, you will do all of this. Okay, and that you will never compare yourself with anyone on this planet except the person you saw yourself. And that is just for the understanding of if you are better than yesterday. That is all. You're not judging yourself. You're not doing any of that. Like I said, it's very, very sort of very little understood and very underrated focus is. But focus can create amazing results. Like literally, you look at someone's life and say, wow, like how come this person is just so genius? How is this person so great at this? It's not. You invest 10 years into one thing and one thing only with conscious focus to improve, and 10 years later, you literally see a genius. Okay? The people that you look at, they're geniuses. They're not. They've just invested 10 years of their life on just focused on one single thing, and that is all there is to it. Okay? That's my phone. Anyone has any questions?
Hi, Jack.
I want you guys to dig deeper, okay? Dig deeper into your spirituality. Okay? Jennifer, I'm gonna come back. Dig deeper into spirituality, dig deeper into the connection you have with yourself. Okay? Like I said, dig deeper into the connection you have with yourself. If you have a deeper connection with yourself and you're rooted deep into your own spirituality or with yourself, I always say, if you don't believe in God or you don't believe in spirituality, not a problem. You got to believe in yourself then, right? You got to believe in yourself. If you're deeply rooted within yourself, that you will literally learn the skills and implement every single moment of your life. And it doesn't really matter your age, doesn't really matter your religion, it doesn't really matter which community you come from, which country you live in. It doesn't really matter. For as long as you implement, you do your karma, do your duty, and not judge, none of that. It's all about assessing. Assessment is good. You assess people to make sure you can work with them, but not judging them. You are actually serving this world, serving the community. People who make larger profits and they're not greedy, they're serving this world, they're serving the community, they're paying the bills of tens of people. Okay? When I was running my chauffeur company, we had literally just shy of 50 people paying their bills from one single office. That is serving the world, serving the community. Okay? Like as we speak, PEN, right? Just the WhatsApp groups, people communicate, get deals done. We are serving hundreds and thousands of people. Are you with me? Jennifer, yes, go ahead.
No, I just had a thought of a book that's called Outliner.
Outliner by Malcolm Gladwell.
And it's something about, is it 10,000 hours of doing the same thing?
Yes, it's it is. There's a lot of research behind it, Jennifer. 10,000 hours of focus time on one skill and one skill only. And when I say one skill, I'll share with you what I mean by one skill. And this is something that Bruce Lee shares, right? I'm not scared of someone who knows 10,000 kicks. I'm scared of the person who's practiced that one kick 10,000 times. One kick. That means It's one single strategy. The person who's done BRR 100 times is a genius. By the time this guy is going to do 101, he's going to be a genius. You look at him and you think, wow, the guy who's written his 10 books and they never made it to the top, when he writes his 11th one, you will think, wow, that's a genius writer. So to answer your question, yes, it's 10,000 hours of conscious focus to do one thing and one thing only is practically a genius. You see these very, very famous writers and they sign 7- and 8-figure deals with publishing companies, 10,000 hours of focused writing. Okay. You see these very, very large developers who build companies right from scratch to 100 and 1,000 units, 10,000 hours of focus on developments. Okay. You see someone who's raised £1 billion in funding for a hedge fund, 10,000 hours of focus just raising funding, nothing else. Does that help? Sorry, Jennifer.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, it's just so it's statistically proven that if you invested 10,000 hours of conscious focus on one thing and one thing only, that you become a genius. Okay, irrespective of your age, you could be 70-year-old and start to focus. 10 years later, by the time you're 80, you're a genius. And that, in fact, at that point, making £1 million becomes a piece of cake. Okay. Anyone has any questions? Do spend reflective time, not judging, just assessing your focus, assessing your confidence, and assessing your serving nature, serving yourself, serving the person next to you. And that is all that matters. If you do that and you do that well, you'll do really, really well in your life. Okay. Sometimes personal development, stuff like that, focus and confidence, it seems very vague, but when you start to implement and you do that consistently over a period of time, you'll see some really good results. Okay. So that's the second session for today. Thank you for watching. I'm going to stop recording. Stay with me.